Καλώς ήλθατε στην Εθνική Λυρική Σκηνή. Βρισκόμαστε στα παρασκήνια της Γενικής Πρόβας, δηλαδή της τελευταίας πρόβας πριν από την πρεμιέρα. Σε αυτό το δωμάτιο θα μπει μια χορεύτρια και όταν ξανανοίξει η πόρτα θα βγει ένας κύκνος. Κάθε παράσταση μοιάζει με γέννα. Ο σκηνοθέτης, η χοροδία, οι πρωταγωνιστές δημιουργούν κάθε φορά μια καινούρια ζωή επί σκηνής. Όλοι όσοι εργάζονται στην Εθνική Λυρική Σκηνή νιώθουν λίγο μητέρες και πατέρες. Η Ιωάννα γεννάει ιδέες για κοστούμια. Η Αναστασία τα φέρνει στη ζωή. Ο Νίκος γεννάει ένα σκηνικό. Η Σοφία και η Βασιλική γεννάνε νότες. Ο Αλέξανδρος που μεταφέρει τα σκηνικά συμμετέχει και αυτός με τον τρόπο του.
Σπρώξε λίγο ακόμα.
Ή ο Δημήτρης που φωτίζει.
Να το βλέπω.
Ακόμα και η αίθουσα μοιάζει με γυναίκα που έχει πάρει θέση το κετού. Αυτή η γέννηση του καινούριου που συμβαίνει εδώ κάθε μέρα είναι μια ιστορία που αφορά πολλούς και που θέλουμε να ακουστεί σήμερα στην Ελλάδα και σε όλο τον κόσμο. Γιατί σήμερα?
Είναι η στιγμή που η Εθνική Λυρική Σκηνή έχει δημιουργήσει μια νέα καλλιτεχνική ταυτότητα στο νέο της σπίτι στο Κέντρο Πολιτισμού Ίδρυμα Σταύρος Νιάρχος και είναι έτοιμη να απευθυνθεί σε περισσότερους. Είναι η στιγμή που το καλλιτεχνικό μας όραμα θα συστήσει τον οργανισμό σε νέα κοινά εντός και εκτός Ελλάδος με τη στήριξη του Ιδρύματος Σταύρος Νιάρχος.
Η ιδέα της γέννησης περιλαμβάνει όλες τις παραστάσεις που έγιναν από το 1939 μέχρι σήμερα. Όλες αυτές τις παραστάσεις, οι χιλιάδες παραστάσεις, δημιουργούν την ταυτότητά μας. Είναι το DNA μας. Οι μαέστροι, οι χορογράφοι, οι σκηνοθέτες, με έναν τρόπο είναι οι γονείς μας, είναι οι παππούδες μας.
Είναι και κάτι ακόμα. Σήμερα είναι η στιγμή που η νέα δωρεά του Ιδρύματος Σταύρος Νιάρχος για την καλλιτεχνική εξωστρέφεια δίνει τη δυνατότητα στη λυρική να γίνει ορατή σε όλο τον κόσμο, καλλιτεχνικά και επικοινωνιακά.
Το Ίδρυμα Σταύρος Νιάρχος έβαλε τις βάσεις για τη νέα εθνική λυρική σκηνή, τόσο με τη δημιουργία και τον εξοπλισμό του Κέντρου Πολιτισμού Ίδρυμα Σταύρος Νιάρχος, όσο και με την ίδρυση της εναλλακτικής σκηνής και την υλοποίηση δεκάδων κοινωνικών και εκπαιδευτικών προγραμμάτων που φέρνουν τη λυρική σε επαφή με την κοινωνία.
Σε αυτήν την κυοφορία συνεργάστηκαν πολλοί δημιουργοί, μέσα από τη λυρική, αλλά και έξω από αυτήν. Η σημερινή πρόσκληση εδώ είναι για να σας δείξουμε τον καρπό των προσπάθειών μας.
Madam Minister, Mr. Drakopoulos, dear friends, dear partners, welcome to the Greek National Opera. For 2020, I wish you all to be healthy, creative, and empowered to deal with adversity and show self-control so as not to be carried away by our successes. It is a great honor, Minister, to have you here today. A day quite important for GNO. Mr. Drakopoulos, Tsanis, Vasilakis, thank you for being here with us, not only today, with difference in time that we have in New York, but for all those years, you have been supporting us. Dear friends, just a year ago, at the beginning of 2019, we had met here in the same room at the foyer then, on stage now, to announce, together with Mr. Andreas Drakopoulos, a 20 million euro donation from the Stavros Niarchos Foundation for enhancing the artistic openness of our organization. In these past 12 months, I believe that we have all watched and enjoyed the fruits of this effort, which the SNF generously supported and the GNO carried out. Before moving on to the news that we have to share share with you today, I would very much like to ponder and highlight all these steps that have been made in the field of artistic extroversion. Some of these steps you already know, while others you don't know have laid the groundwork for future collaborations and actions. Thanks to the Extroversion Donation, we were able to work with very important international recognized artists in 2019, such as Fanny Ardant, Milena Caronero of the 4 Oscars, and all the creative team that presented the Lady Macbeth of Mchensk district, as well as the invited protagonists, the famous Catalans of La Fura dels Baus, who proposed a new subversive approach of Norma, as well as the invited protagonists such as Carmen Giannattasio, the protagonist of La Traviata, the famous soprano Lisette Oropesa that enchanted us, Salmir Pirku, Alexei Dolgov, the great cast of Don Carlo, the exceptional Alexandra Vinogradov, Marcello Puente, the leading Barbara Fritola, Ekaterina Gubanova, Elena Zitkova, Olivier Pius, director of the Avignon Festival, and all of his creative teams who will present Vorchek in a few days with a stage setting that will impress us. The leading mezzo-soprano of our time, the Metropolitan and the Paris Opera star, whom we consider the member of our artistic family, Anita Rochesvili, who will make her highly anticipated debut in the role of Charlotte in Werther in May, a debut that has already attracted the interest of major mass media around the globe. The American tenor Matthew Polenzani, who made a great impression a few days ago at the New York Met Gala with Anna Netrebko, whom we will enjoy in Rigoletto in June. The leading Italian soprano Anna Piccocci, and the distinguished baritone Ambrogio Maestri, who will star in Tosca. The guest conductor for 2019-2020 season, Philip Ogden, who has already directed The Sleepwalker and Don Carlo and will direct Rigoletto at the Odeon of Herodes Atticus. Thanks to the Extroversion Donation, we were able to make important assignments to Yorgos Lanthimos, the international Greek director who introduced Greek cinema to an international audience, who in a few days will begin shootings for the film installation to be presented as part of the 3-year cycle, The Artist on the Composer, and we co-produced with Neon Organization. To the award-winning composer George Vasilandonakis to compose a new opera with which we will celebrate the 80 years of GNO. It is about Pape Joan in a libretto by Vangelis Hadjiyanidis based on the homonymous novel by Emmanuel Roidis. To Angelos Triantafilou, the young composer with the exceptional career in theatrical music, who composes in the country, a work on loneliness in old age that will be directed by Nikos Karathanos. The show will feature both professional and amateur artists from the music groups of our educational and social programs. Thanks to our Extroversion Donation, we have further enhanced our international partnerships with major players, with the Munich State Opera, the German Berlin Opera, the Florence May Music Festival, and the Paris National Opera. We co-produced The Seven Deaths of Maria Callas, the long-awaited performance of Marina Abramovic that we will enjoy here in July, with the London Royal Opera House. We did Simon Boccanegra, directed by Elia Mosinski last January, while a few days ago we finished Don Carlo by Sir Nicholas Heitner, a co-production with the London Royal Opera House, the New York Metropolitan Opera House, and the Oslo, Norway Opera House. With the Vienna State Opera, we worked on the Sleepwalker. We work with the Paris National Opera to produce Werther, but also in our ballet and dance school, through the donation, we managed to hire 8 new dancers through 2 hearings we did in March and June, resulting in the visible renewal of our team. Present choreographies of major choreographers such as Nacho Duanto, Marco Goeke, and Daphne Kokino. Invite the internationally recognized Greek fashion designer Merika Traju to design costumes for Don Quixote, provide scholarships to top students of the GNO dance school to continue their studies abroad. In the communication part, which we will talk about later, through competitions, we chose the advertising company that will create and run our campaigns in Greece and abroad, 2 PR offices abroad, and a research company which carried out a public survey on behalf of the GNO. Our advertising company for this year is Job Advertising, which is working with Tempo OMD to buy advertising space and time in the media. The London Public Relations firm, which covers the US, European markets except for France, is Borkowski PR, while in France we have chosen Opus 64. The research company that did the market research is Research Hive. From the results of the survey, we got very important information about the GNO's identity, our public's habits, and also identified our weaknesses. On this basis, we built our new campaign. During the year, my colleagues and I traveled, had many creative discussions with foreign agencies, artists, operas, and presented our organization's work with the aim of preparing the next steps of extroversion. Today we will announce many of our upcoming collaborations. Some others, like the ones that resulted from our recent trip to America, will be announced later, since they are not finalized yet. At this point, I would like to present some of our future collaborations in the context of our artistic extroversion. Our first major strategic partnership is with one of Europe's most important historical operas, Opera Comique Paris. With Opera Comique, we have a very close and creative partnership that goes beyond the concept of co-production and reaches a level of creative exchange and co-creation. With the artistic director Olivier Montet, we share common views but also a common vision. In the framework of this collaboration, we will start with a co-production of the Voyage to the Moon by Offenbach, directed by Laurent Pelly, which will also feature our children's choirs. The premiere will take place in May next year in Paris, and after that we will present it in Athens. Our next steps include a co-production of a Baroque opera that will be presented first here in Athens in 2022 and then in Paris. We also plan a co-assignment and co-production on the new opera by the acclaimed French composer Philippe Hersan in a libretto by Jean Esnos, which will premiere in Paris in 2022 and then be presented in Athens. With another historic institution of France, the great Aix-en-Provence Festival is our next big co-production in the fall of 2023. It is a very ambitious stage project, the presentation of the two Iphigenias by Gluck in a single performance directed by one of the world's leading opera directors. With two major Northern European operas, the Gothenburg Opera House and the Royal Opera House of Denmark, we are co-producing Don Giovanni, directed by the artistic director of the Royal Opera House of Denmark, John Fugems, which will premiere first here in Athens at the end of 2020 and will then be presented in Gothenburg and Copenhagen. The Tales of Hoffmann by Offenbach is another co-production with La Monnaie of Brussels, directed by Christophe Warnikowski. The very impressive production premiered a few days ago in Brussels, and we will present it in Athens in the period 22-23. With the London Royal Opera House, we continue our very close strategic partnership with Andreas Chenier, to be presented in 2021, directed by David McVicker, while we are planning the award-winning production of Cavalleria Rusticana and Pagliacci for the beginning of 2022, directed by Damiano Micheletto. In 2022, we are planning another co-production with Covent Garden, directed by a great director, which will be announced soon. With the famous German Baden-Baden Festival, as we have already announced, we are co-producing Otello by Verdi, directed by Bob Wilson, which will be presented in the 2021-22 season with the famous Pesaro Rossini Festival, a real attraction for opera friends from all over the world. We will be co-producing for 2022-23 season a Rossini French-speaking opera. With the Helsinki Opera House, we are co-producing Salome by Richard Strauss for 2022-23 season, directed by the award-winning German director Christoph Loh. With his dance team, or the dance team of Mark Morris, we will work together to present the dance performance Pepperland in September 2020. With the Bacheva Dance Group, we will work together to present a choreography of them in 2021-2022 season, with two major French players of contemporary music, Printemps des Arts de Monte Carlo and Graham Center, the National Création Musicale in Lyon. We do a co-production on Marc Monet's Room Opera, Bilolo, directed by Arnaud Fabre. In the next 2 months, we will be able to present the complete program for 2021, the year that marks 200 years from the Greek War of Independence of 1821. In the context of this program, through assignments, new productions, major collaborations, we will attempt to reflect on a very important historical event of global importance linked to leading revolutions such as the French and the American ones. At this point, I would like to invite the minister to come to the podium and share her thoughts with us.
Mr. Director, Mrs. President of the Board of the GMO, Mr. President of Stavros Niarchos Foundation, Mr. Vasilaki, Mr. Tsamis, it is a great pleasure that we can welcome you here and say good morning, New York. And I would like to wish to all of you and all our friends who are present here to have a nice, creative, and happy New Year with a lot of health and a lot of creations. If for each one of us these wishes are personally enough, for a big corporation like the National Opera, the GNO, are wishes that have to be complemented by specific plans for having the necessary robustness to create throughout the year, and also to plan for a broader horizon for 3 or even 5 years. For this reason, we need people who are creative, who are strong. We need people who would support those who are the creators. And of course, here I mention the support of Mr. Strakopoulos and the Stavros Niarchos Foundation, without which the NGO wouldn't have reached the level where it is today. Many people, or the psychologists rather, speak about the trauma of the birth. I would speak about the renaissance and the miracle of the birth. We have both in this case. We're going to see the miracle later on, but the renaissance for the National Opera started in 2017, where they relocated their premises here at the Stavros Niarchos Foundation premises, where we can have modern infrastructures, and even further, we have the circumstances that allow the National Opera have a context to create even in a better way than many European operas. Of course, we need to thank the donors. Throughout the 12 months, we heard Mr. Komentakis describing the works of the National Opera, successful works. But of course, behind every success, there is a lot of systematic work by a big team of people and by a person who very specifically has worked for this work to happen. Mr. Komentakis, the Greek National Opera is lucky to have Yorgos as its artistic director, a person who works hard in a systematic manner and in a silent manner, combining his personal life with his creative life, with the creation and the well-being of the organization he directs. I do admire his devotion. I admire him because he always works by bearing in mind one very basic thing: the trust entrusted by the state and the confidence that the SNF and his president, Mr. Strakopoulos, have vested in his face. It is not often that we meet this kind of people who understand how heavy their responsibility is. Mr. Komentakis has just mentioned all the long list of protagonists, of artists who are going to populate this theater with so many enthusiastic people. But of course, we would all agree that none of these works could come to Athens if there was no confidence to the organization. If they didn't know that when coming here, they're going to connect their name with a theater, with an opera, which is one of the hottest in the European cultural map. This theater has established its image and its extrovert character since 2017 and has created a model opera that should be adopted by both the state and all the cultural organizations in our country and elsewhere, so that they can become as extrovert as GNO is today. If we want to really contribute to the modern civilization, if we want to introduce Greece into the international European map of culture, if we want to attract people and artists who are important from the international scene, we can only be extrovert. We can break the egg, get outside, and in a systematic and perfect manner show what we can do. In a recent discussion I had with Mr. Koumentakis, he told me that the average spectator of NGO is 35 to 40 years old. This is a great success. Many of us in our age, in my age, know which is the average age of the spectators of the opera. The second thing that Mr. Koumentakis told me was that approximately 30,000 foreigners, non-Greeks, have visited the opera during the last 12 months, and this is the second evidence proving how well the GNO does. What is important is to stress the robustness of this organization. Grace to the donation and support of Mr. Drakopoulos and the SNF, GNO can make us proud. All Greek citizens can feel proud of this organization without having anything to be jealous of from in Europe or internationally. Let me finish by thanking once again Mr. Giorgos Koumentakis and all the personnel of the Greek National Opera who have been working day and night under the supervision of the artistic director, under the guidance of the board. And let me say once again that if we can, we are going to do as a Ministry of Culture the most that we can, because we owe to civilization, we owe to the National Opera. Thank you, Minister, Ms. Mendoni, for this very essential intervention and the very kind words that has shared with us. We have an excellent relation, and I'm always very moved when she speaks about our work. Let me now ask Mr. Drakopoulos to share his thought with us. Dear Andreas, I know that it is really early in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning in New York, but we are going to hear what you have to say with a lot of gratitude for whatever you have done for us. Thank you, Madam Minister. Dear Ms. Mendoni, dear Giorgos, dear friends, we would like to thank you for having invited us in this presentation. We feel very proud of what the National Opera has achieved. Always we have said that at the base of every success, there is a very good cooperation, and we're very happy to have this very good cooperation with the Greek National Opera. For 10 years now, we started with the Suitcase Opera, which turned out to become a voyage of civilization. We were there to support the National Opera to its new premises, and I was very happy during this course to meet with Giorgos Koumentakis, and I understood that when I met him, that we had the same logic and the same philosophy. As Mrs. Mendoni said, he feels the responsibility that burdens his shoulder, which is very important and necessary, but unfortunately rare nowadays. In our cooperation, we are very proud. We live in an era where arts play a significant role for civilization, especially today, especially in the turbulent times of our era, where society is going through crisis, not only in Greece, but all over the world. I believe that Greeks have to play a very important role here. GNO, under the guidance of Yorgos, has managed to undertake the responsibility to serve its vision towards a better contribution to this civilization. And of course, the vision is supported by hard work, a sense of responsibility, and only then can we speak about an extrovert opening when we are responsible about it. Being extrovert is a nice concept, but of course, we need in order to achieve this, we need vision, hard work, and a lot of responsibility. This is how we can manage. This extroversion starts from the core, from the heart of the GNO, and reaches out to the world. And only this way can we have a continuous development, a progressive development of the opera. I will stay brief. I only want to focus on the excellent cooperation that we've been having with the GNO. We are very proud that we are along with you in this journey. We are proud of your work, and we shall stay your supporters for a better future. Thank you very much from New York. Mr. Drakopoulos, dear Andreas, dear friends, thank you for your kind words. Extroversion indeed starts from within, from the heart. At this point, I would like to speak about another very important axis of being extrovert, communication and promotion of our work in Greece and abroad. So, grace to the donation by the Stavros Niarchos Foundation, the Greek National Opera can be in a position to talk about its work and its new identity to the Greek and the international audience. 3 years after our relocation here at the Stavros Niarchos Foundation, the changes have already shown themselves not only in terms of the building and its infrastructure, but especially our artistic identity. We have a new repertoire, we have international cooperations, we have bold performances. That's why we think that it's high time that we can now speak with more people. We can broaden our audiences in Greece and internationally. This is why, for the first time, we have drafted a visual campaign that will further communicate our identity, reflecting the logic of our organization and providing the context of new productions of this season. The subject of this campaign is the birth. It's a happy coincidence at this particular time, because this year we celebrate the 8th anniversary of our first performance in 1940, namely the birth of the National Opera. So birth regards the past, the present, and of course the future. The idea behind the birth is so clear. In our organization, everyone, singers, musicians, dancers, chorus, directors, technicians, costume designers, stage designers, they create on a daily basis new roles, new stagings, new interpretations, designs, dreams, costumes, experiences, and emotions. At the same time, we believe that birth is the best way to embrace what is new, new ideas, the new momentum, the innovation, and whatever can take us a step beyond. So our advertising campaign is going to be shown to you for the first time today. It was filmed underwater. It could be an amniotic sac, or it could be the sea. It shows 3 embryos: a young prince, a musician, and a ballerina. These 3 roles were selected to represent opera, music, and dance, which are the 3 basic dimensions of the art of the Greek National Opera. All 3 of them carrying with them the water. Their high aesthetics, their elliptical modern costumes and makeup designs Their directional approach gives us the birth of a new language. We see the three embryos being born and taking their first breath in life and on stage. So our message is simple and powerful. A new birth in Athens in the GNO. At the same time, the various campaigns related to the artistic productions that started with Don Carlo, the Swan Lake, and Wojciech have been created on the basis of the same concept. Within a symbolic amniotic sac, we see the birth of the heroes and the basic ideas of each work. So this campaign will start today being broadcasted through the television, in the internet and traditional media in Greece and overseas. Its intention is to reach out to the fans, friends, and especially those who don't know the GNO. We want to make our work known beyond Greece, to present our new artistic identity and talk about our artistic openness. The National Opera in Greece, with the support of the Stavros Niarchos Foundation, aspires to become an international destination for opera lovers and create an important exportable cultural product. And now it's the time that we can show you the two campaign videos, first in Greek and right after in English. Thank you.
Γεννιέται στην εθνική λυρική σκηνή. New birth at the Greek National Opera.
In conclusion, I would like to thank once again the Minister of Culture and Sports, Mrs. Mendoni, who has honored our event, our press release today with her presence. With the Minister, we have developed a very close relationship, which is reflected in the series of proposals and creative actions between the Ministry and the GNO. Mrs. Mendoni strongly supports our work, and her help is essential at all levels. Thank you, Mrs. Minister. At this point, I would like to publicly welcome our new president, Mrs. Venia Papathanasopoulou, and I would like to wish her every success in her work. I'm confident that we're going to have an excellent cooperation along with our board members. Let me also warmly thank Mr. Andreas Drakopoulos, chairman of the Stavros Niarchos Foundation, for his support. At a more personal tone, I would like to say that the difficult and demanding years that passed, he was beside me in very critical moments, and I feel that we are together in this journey, in companions in this adventure. Along with Mr. Drakopoulos, I would like to thank all the staff of the foundation who have always supported us in every difficulty. With my warm thanks to the board of directors, my associates, the artistic, technical, and support staff of the Greek National Opera, I conclude here, and I am at your disposal for any questions. Good morning and a Happy New Year. I'd like to ask the following. You mentioned various co-productions, which are very impressive indeed, in both quantity and quality. Apart from the children's choir, do we have the participation of Greek staff of the National Opera? Who are these? Second question. What about the market research? Are you going to release it through the press? Thank you. As regards your first question, we just mentioned the openness, the extroversion donation of 20 millions. Of course, as regards all the co-productions, the ones I mentioned and the others that will follow, 90% is the participation of Greek personnel. Less than 10% are the foreign associates. So I cannot mention any names because it's our whole ensemble of chorus, singers. So 9 out of 10 are Greeks. Moreover, a lot of directors, stage designers, artists that contribute to the creation of the other productions that I mentioned today, and the ones that we are going to announce in 2 months from today, when we are going to reveal the next season, 2021, and all the productions for 2021. As regards to the second question, we haven't thought about it yet. If you want to know some more specific things, I could answer now, but it's not a bad idea. Some parts of this research could be made public. At this moment, all our collaborators, my team, myself, and the organization are processing the information that we received, which are indeed very impressive. If you do have any specific question, I might try to answer. As for how this survey was conducted, let me just reveal a couple of important information. The profile of visitors in the GNO are men and women, of course. In equal percentages, while variance in ages is high, we attract young people from 17 to 27, but also we attract 54 to 65. That's why the average age is 35 to 40, as the minister said. I think that this reflects the 65% of our spectators, which is important. I can also say that as regards our productions, the satisfaction rate regarding the aesthetics interventions is 85%. So 85% of the people say that the quality of productions is very high. In some other surveys carried out in other houses, this specific rate was at 64. Any other question? We have coffee outside and some refreshments. So we'd like to thank you all for coming today. We will be together again in 2 months from today for the next productions. Goodbye from New York.